What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. First of all, I want to thank you all for listening. I've been getting tons of messages about the content, and you guys are enjoying it, so I truly appreciate you all. Today, I have Mars Conti on the show, one of the founders of Thriftcon and a Denver, Colorado native. Welcome to the
Phew.
show, man.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for being on, dude. I'm super stoked on what you guys are doing. I think it's, as they say, it's good for the culture, man.
Yeah, dude. Everything's about the culture these days,
Everything's
huh?
about the culture. So, but in all honesty, I appreciate it, man. I think it's super rad. I think there's people who are out there for self and they're doing things to get themselves ahead, and there's people like you who are doing things. Obviously, it's for yourself, but it's boosting up the community. It's helping other people. It's making our scene bigger. So I salute you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was, we didn't when we started it, we definitely didn't think like, oh, we're gonna take over the world with this and we're gonna be at the top of the fucking thrift world. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't that at all. It was literally just, yo, we've met a bunch of homies in Denver who are also thrifting and who were because we had our shop and we were buy sell trade, and so a lot of the other people who were picking and thrifting would come and bring stuff to us, and we'd buy from them and put it in the shop. And so we had just met this kind of community of people in Denver and a little bit online as well. And it was kind of like, what if we got everyone together? Because, LA has Rose Bowl and has Melrose every week and things like that. But Denver just didn't have anything cool like that. It was some regular flea markets, but it's the same thing as, going to the bins or whatever. And so we just didn't have this kind of collection of people getting together. And so the first idea was, let's just get homies in a parking lot and open up our cars. But immediately when we started putting the idea out there, it was just kind of bigger than that and kind of just had this buzz and everyone was stoked on it. And so, we started doing that last May, and it's just every event we've done 4 or 5 since then. Every event we've done has just doubled in size in vendors, doubled in size in attendance, and just kind of the buzz around it. And so from there, it was kind of like, we took a step back after doing a few of them. We were like, this is awesome. Like people are stoked on this. Like you said, it's just the community was bigger than just Denver. And so we kind of were like, we should really start to eye a couple bigger cities like LA and New York and Miami and Chicago and Texas and places like that we could maybe take this place to. And so LA just seemed like the first like obvious step for us because we had some connections out there.
Yeah,
We
it's sick, dude.
homies and stuff. So yeah, it really definitely didn't start out like, oh, let's do this for ourselves, but it's kind of just snowballed into doing it. It was a no-brainer to just keep it going.
Yeah, and it makes total sense. I mean, the thrift game has gotten so big. There's so many people involved. It's crazy for me to see, being in this for so long, how much in the last 5 years it's blown up. It's
It's
wild.
it's super wild.
Thrifting is the cool shit now. You can tell
Yeah,
girls you're a thrifter and they'll be into it.
that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, and I remember, like even I started thrifting probably like tail end of high school and college, and I was definitely like real into it. But like I remember growing up, my mom would take me to the thrift stores, and I'd be like, "What are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, let's like go to take me to like a Foot Locker or like something like that. Like, I can go get some shit." But yeah, man, no, it is definitely like that's where all the cool shit's coming out of now. The price
Totally.
just keeps skyrocketing and stuff. Like, it's cool to see what pieces kind of like get hot too. Like
Yeah.
it's sweet, man.
So, okay, I want to play a quick game. Before we get into your history here, this is the word association game, man.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm ready.
So,
I didn't know I had tests coming.
oh, you got tests coming, man. Okay, so just first things that come to your head when I say these things, okay?
Yes.
Complex con.
Dope.
Dope. Have you
I like.
gone?
No, but I mean, obviously, dude, it's the pinnacle of this shit. It just like
Yeah.
looks so cool. I mean, there's obviously a lot of like some of the stuff seems overhyped, and there's the like classic hype beast is just out in full force, but it's very cool, man. Like all the collaborations and just things that happen. It's
So had
cool.
you gone to any sneaker cons or any cons in general before you did ThriftCon?
we've been to sneaker cons, and definitely had been to like, sneaker shows like Dunk Exchanges and Rose Bowl and like little things like
Have we
that.
met before?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I like not, no. I mean, I knew, obviously, like, knew who you were just like from, uh, in the online vintage world for a while, but we've never, our
Yeah.
paths have never crossed.
So you never came to our booth at the Rose Bowl?
Yeah. No, I don't know if I did, and I'd been to Rose Bowl like, man, it was probably like I hadn't been to Rose Bowl in the past year, maybe two.
Okay.
So yeah, like I don't know if like it was like really when I like had finally like been watching all the homies and everything online and on Instagram and everything. I don't think I would have like it wasn't in that time that I would have came to Rose Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Okay, next word association. The bins.
Gold.
Gold. So is that where
There's
you
gold in
started,
them.
the bins?
Yeah, I mean we the bins definitely like especially in Denver, I feel like the bins were like pretty good. They're starting to get more and more packed, I feel like everywhere else, but I started in the racks. I feel like I didn't, just like look up Goodwill outlets and start going there. I started going to like, Arcs and things like that. But
Yeah.
the bins quickly became the spot to go to, especially out here.
So, like, tell me about learning about the bins. How did you hear about the bins for the first time?
It would have been my partner David who kind of was like,
Shout
and
out
it was,
David Meets World, right?
shout out David Meets World, David _ Meets World. Absolutely. He's not really an early riser. And when I told him or was trying to get in touch with him last night and saying it was at 10 a.m. or 12 a.m. or whatever, he was just, it wasn't going to work. But, yeah, so I think it was one of our homies, Maury. He goes by like Mile High Vintage. And then Cruz, Mendoza, some of the other guys, like guys who we saw selling at the flea market.
Yeah.
Because like there's one flea market in Denver, the Denver Flea, and it's like every Saturday and Sunday that Dave and I were going every weekend. And so then, yeah, a couple of the homies who we would see at the flea market, they were actually set up selling at the flea market, and they always had good stuff. And so we kind of like, it was kind of the only other dudes at the flea who, had the shit that we were looking for, like, whether it was few and far between at the other booths, but these dudes like consistently every week had the shit that we were looking for. And so just kind of started chatting them up, you know what I mean? Like, why are you, where are you guys getting this stuff? Why are you selling it for so cheap type stuff? And yeah, they introduced us to the bins. And so quickly we started researching all the different locations in Denver. There's like three, maybe four solid like locations kind of surrounding the Denver area. And we just started sending our homies to them. Going ourselves. Dave would go to one location, I'd go to another location, and we would just spend time there. And
Nice. That's awesome, man. Okay, next one. Rocky Mountain High.
Elton John. All right, John Denver. Elton John. Jesus Christ, John Denver, dude. No, Rocky Mountain High, dude. I mean, shit. Skiing, John Denver, weed.
That was just so random.
Yeah, that one threw me for a loop.
Okay. Supreme.
Played.
Okay, my man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I came to Colorado. I don't know if I told you that last year. I was actually there like this time last year.
Really?
I flew into Denver and then we went to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That's where they have a sick zoo, right? They have a sick zoo there.
They do have a good zoo down the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo.
Yeah, I got two kids, so we were like, let's go to the zoo.
Yeah,
That's actually a tight zoo. Anyway, so I just gotta tell you this thrift story from Colorado Springs.
Uh-huh.
Fucking crazy. So we're going to get breakfast, get coffees and stuff in the morning, and we roll into the coffee shop, and I'm like, we pull up, and I see this thrift store across the road, and I'm like, shit, sick, I gotta hit that, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like we were out on a thrift mission. I was just grabbing breakfast before because I was on a family trip, right? And then I'm like, I'll just grab breakfast first. And then I grab breakfast. It's like 25, 30 minutes later. I go into the thrift and I see a dude walking around with a first edition Levi's jacket in his hand.
And so you could have just went.
I'm like, fuck. Yeah, and then right away I'm like, homie, like, yo, can I buy that off you? Like, straight up, I'll throw down cash for that jacket right now. And he was like, no, I think I'm going to keep it. And then he ended up he ended up going like, oh, I think I follow you on Instagram. Like we ended up making a connection, and he was like some other picker. And then I actually bought a bunch of stuff from that thrift store, but that was like the cream that he just had scooped off the
So
top.
he didn't sell it to you.
No, he didn't sell it to me. He kept it.
Oh God! Even after knowing who you were and everything,
He was like an old. I think he was even older than me. He's an older picker, and he knew his shit. And he was like, "Oh, I'm going out to LA. I do this thing. I'm saving it, like whatever." But that set the tone for my trip. I was so hyped because I'm like, "This trip is gonna be sick. Colorado's the shit. Yeah, it's gonna be so fire." And then I swear, I hit so many thrifts and I didn't buy one thing. I didn't find anything.
Oh shit!
That was it. I missed my opportunity.
That's funny.
But
yeah,
we did like it.
I know Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is pretty decent. We definitely have some vendors, like a handful of vendors who come up from Colorado Springs for every Denver Thriftcon, and nice. I mean they're always coming with some heat, dude. So they find some stuff down there, but that is unfortunate. That's always how it goes.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. It's just funny. I was like, this is the universe telling me the Colorado's the shit. I'm gonna score. and then it was empty-handed for me. But well. So okay, let's talk a bit more about the beginning of Thriftcon. So, when was the first event, and like how did that go, and was it busy and?
Yeah, so last May was the first event.
So you're not even 1 year old.
A little bit older, like a year and a half.
So
like last May, May of 2018.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, we really had no idea what to expect. We started promoting it with the homies and just like the vintage community and station. We had like a pretty solid following in Denver and like a good footing here in the community. And so like promoting it through the station outlets, and it was kind of Station Presents Thriftcon at first. We didn't really like start it as its own business. It was kind of like Station Presents. And so, yeah, we started promoting it. I think we got up to like anywhere in like the 40 to 50 vendors. And then I think like 800 or 900 people came through the first one. It was only like 800 or 900 people. But for us, 800 or 900 people for this first event, we were like, oh, dude, this is sick. So we got all stoked. We were like, fucking 900 people just came to something that we threw. Like, we were just, in Denver, like, that's just, like I said, it was just, for us, we were just pumping. So then, yeah, just kept rolling with it, man. Got bigger and bigger spaces every single time. Went, like I said, legitimately doubled every time. So we've done 4 of them. We went from like 900 to like 1800 or like 1700, and then the next one had like 3000, and then the last one in August had just over 5000 people at it.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so I mean, it just kept doubling, and we're throwing a little bit more money at it, figuring out like navigating Instagram and Facebook ads and targeting like really solid audiences. That's our partner Ken. He does all of that. And he's just crushing with that stuff. And
so you're doing your own Facebook advertising.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
We're doing all of that, like, have figured out navigating our way through the pixel and like the back end of all the Facebook business managing and everything, and integrating that with Instagram and creating all our own original content and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just.
So what are you expecting for turnout for LA?
Dude, so it's obviously so hard to gauge because, we've never had an event in LA, but I mean, as far as just basing it off straight ticket sales, we're crushing. I mean, we are miles ahead of any event that we've ever done.
Really?
Like we already have more tickets sold right now than we did. It took us basically till day of to sell this many for our last event that we had 5,000 people at. So we really don't know. We're hoping for like 8,000 to 10,000, But realistically, we thought, okay, 5,000. If we get the same amount out, that would be legit. And I think we definitely are going to hit that. But I mean, it's looking like at least like 8,000 to 10,000, I think.
Yeah, it's fire, dude. That's such good growth. I've heard so many people, like so many events and stuff have come up and gone out. Obviously, Complex Con is fucking crushing it. Although I will say, nothing against them. They've kind of gone downhill in the last little while. We didn't do the last one. We did the second and third, and they just had the fourth.
Yeah.
That shit's mayhem, though. That is crazy. People there are so fucking nuts, and they're all there to buy. They all come with stacks of cash ready just to buy the next hot shit. It's like it's insane, man. But
Right,
yeah, so
right,
I've heard a
right.
lot of
So
stories
so
about
much hype.
events. Yeah, so much hype. Events. It's just hard because like you gotta rent the space, you gotta pay for marketing, you gotta probably get insurance. Like there's so many things involved. It's not just like as easy as people might perceive, right?
It's definitely not easy, and as you start to scale and get bigger, so do all of your problems and responsibilities. But I mean, yeah, we always we like to say it's not fancy con, it's Thriftcon, so
Yeah.
we try to keep it as low budget as possible all the time. Like our cost honestly is still not that high. We were fucking astounded at how affordable the LA Convention Center was, like for the space that we wanted, and so like that's why we ended up moving with it. And it's like proving to be a little bit harder to work with them. They're just a little bit like a bunch of suits in there, more by the books than some of the last places that we've worked with. So that's proving definitely more difficult. We're having to kind of appease them a little bit more and just get all these fucking outside contractors for shit that they should be able to do, like literally several hundred dollars just to open up outlets on the floor for us to use electricity. Like just to open up, like to unscrew a fucking outlet face is like several $100s. So it's like just little things like that can like stack up and get like really stupid. But I think we've done like a great job just like keeping the budget low. And so we tend to always, we're over our break even point before doors even happen. So,
Nice.
so yeah, as far as right now, I think we're moving in a good spot. It's definitely it's just about dealing with people, man. I don't hate people. Some people they have a problem, but I just got to talk to vendors every day, talk to contractors, talk to the venue. So it's just dealing with people, honestly. And like if you can fucking
That's super. That's like one of the most important skills you can have in life, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really that's what it is. But Complex Con, man, huge. Like obviously they're fucking huge, pouring money into that thing. Sponsors are pouring money into that shit, and so ThriftCon's probably still a year or few years maybe removed from being on that scale. But I think,
and I don't think you ever even need to get on that scale, man.
Right.
That's such a massive project. Like people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a booth that they're gonna run for 2 days, and it's done. It's trash.
They contacted Station about having a booth, and I couldn't believe the prices. I was like, dog, what? Like, just like
ThriftCon asked you guys. ComplexCon asked you to come out.
Station to come like the last couple.
Dude, yeah. So like you're looking at like $7,000 for a 10x10, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I just couldn't justify it, especially being a smaller brand and a Denver brand. And it's just like it's not the same. And so
how much stock do you got to move to just make your money back on the booth? We did a double space for Frankie.
Yeah.
So that's $14,000 before cost of goods. Before flying down there with our whole crew.
Yeah.
And fucking Airbnb for the weekend. Like, dude.
And like for us too, like, Frankie Collective, you guys have an amazing following. You definitely like have the name and some really good brand recognition right now. Station's like this little cult brand from Denver, have like fucking 8,000 followers or something. And so for us, I feel like we'd get swallowed up in a place like Complex Con. We like don't have the brand recognition, probably aren't going to be able to like pony up money to have some fucking rapper come stand at our booth so people will line up to talk to him. And like, you know what I mean? And just like need to get like, so we'd have to have some big brand collab or something that just like some shtick to make someone come to our booth, and it's just probably not going to happen. So
no, I think a lot of people, they end up losing money on it. They just do it to show face.
It's like a marketing thing.
It's a marketing thing, yeah.
Like put it in your marketing budget, but for us, it's just never in the cards. I mean, like I said, I do think it's cool, whatever, but that's like really not. ThriftCon has elements of Complex Con at it, like the culture's there, whatever, but it doesn't have that huge, giant, just like overhyped feel. And I think kind of what that comes from is we're actually a part of the vintage community. We were fucking setting up and vending at the first few ThriftCons ourselves as vendors and sellers, so we kind of understand what the vendors want and what makes them happy. We kind of understand, we've been to Rose Bowls, we've been to Melrose, we've been to sneaker cons or dunk exchanges like as attendees, so we kind of understand like like what makes it cool for attendees and what makes it for people just coming to be there for the day and to shop. And so I think that's one of the reasons that it kind of does have this good vibe, because we've been there and we just know what people want, kind of.
That's rad, man. I got to ask you about something that happened in Denver. So I listened to a podcast, 1980 something co. I forget who he was talking to, but one of the guys that got the Deadstock score at the bins.
Dude, it was Dave. David Meets World.
Oh, that was Dave. That's Dave.
That's
so you were like
who Chris was talking to.
Yeah, so you were right in. Were you involved in all that mayhem?
Dude, yeah. So he called me. He's at the bins. I wasn't even there. I wasn't there for the week or whatever. Calls me. Like freaking out, literally freaking out. I thought something was wrong because he's like out of breath. Like, dude. And I'm like, fucking slow down. And he's like, you got to come down here right now. I'm at the bins. You got to come down here right now. Craziest fucking day ever. So much Deadstock shit. It's still rolling out. Like, you got to get down here. I need help. I don't even have enough hands. There's like a couple other kids down here, but we got to get this shit. And so I'm like, all right, I live 5 to 10 minutes from the bins. So I get in my car, drive over there. And yeah, man, sure enough, it's like, it was absolutely insane. Like, I get there, he already has a shopping cart just full of just all these white Deadstock tees. He's like, start looking through those, piling them out, putting the same ones. So I just started looking through the shopping cart, like MC Hammer tees, like Boys in the Hood tees, all these old, like, the HBCU, like the historical black college tees, like,
yeah.
Dude, like bootleg Barts. Like, there was like 4 or 5 different styles of bootleg Barts that were rolling out. It was just nuts. And so, yeah, I mean, we sat there for about an hour, 2 hours till the bins closed, and they just like kept showing up, and there would just be stacks of them. You'd kind of, they'd do a change, it would come out, and at this point there's 4 or 5 of us there, and we were making such commotion about it that all the Mexican ladies started to be like, oh, we want them too. so like, yeah, like every time they would roll out and we would see a stack of just white tees, everyone would be crowding around that booth and shit. But there was so many coming out that, dude, like there was enough to go around. I think we ended up getting like 60 to 70 pounds that first day. And other vendors.
And then what's crazy is that it kept coming out, and it kept coming out on the racks, right? And then he was talking about the thrift stores were like limiting people for like buying it off the racks, and then people were lining up.
And so that's actually what first happened. Is Dave got a random call, and we think it was someone who had like either been at the shop to buy, like to sell with us before or whatever. But I remember he gets a call from a number and this guy that he doesn't know. But he's like, hey, I know you guys have the shop. I've seen you digging before. I'm at this. It was at the rack. This Goodwill that was kind of near the bins, and he's like, there's a bunch of shirts down here. I just think you'll want to come see this. I think you'll want to get down here. And so Dave went to that, and then initially he found I think like 20 or 30 shirts at the racks, and he just buys all of them. Dave was the first one to really like come up on it, so he buys all of them. And then he kind of starts chatting up the Goodwill people. And so what had happened was there was a store called Just for Feet. I don't know if it was like a kind of a chain store, and it was in Colorado. I don't know if it was in other states ever, but it was called Just for Feet. It was kind of like an athletic store and like things like that. Like I used to buy basketball shoes there and everything, like Iversons and stuff like that. But so they also had tees and things of that nature. And so Just for Feet went out of business probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, and some guy buys a warehouse in Denver. This is, last year, recently, buys this warehouse, and it has all this stock from a Just for Feet in it. He doesn't want any of it, and he just takes it all to a fucking Goodwill, and it was all this Deadstock shit that had just been sitting for 15 or 20 years. And so he took it to this Goodwill in Denver and donated all of it, offloaded like a truck like full.
Yeah.
And then they just, they distributed it. And so they gave X amount to this bins, X amount to Platt, sent some to the racks, and just kind of like, spread it out. And so, for 3 weeks, maybe a month, maybe this shit was rolling out. And it was funny because the employees at the bins like caught on. So they like knew, and they knew all the shit was in the back. So they were like having fun with it, man. They were they would roll out a bin that was just Deadstock shirts, just to like see what would happen. Like it was, I promise you, there would be 50 or like 50 pounds in the bin, and it was just all Deadstock shit.
Damn.
And then they would like hide it, and then they would like some days like there would be dudes back there like the Goodwill employees like y'all want some shit today, like some of the homies back there like they like knew what they had. It was crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, but that was cool. It was cool, but it was awful then because then everyone had this shit and we all had the same stuff. So selling it was atrocious because we all had it then on our eBays, all had it on our channels, and eBay people would be like, oh, well, this dude said he'd give it to me for 20, and this dude said he'd do it for 15, and there was all this stuff that like used to be worth more and double what people were getting it off for, but everyone had it, so it just kind of fucked the market up for a sec too.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, that sucks when that happens. In a way, it's like it would have been better if one person got it and just leaked it out.
Right, exactly.
Then you could have been like control the market on it, but.
And we've actually still held on to some of that. I know Dave has a good handful of his. I've held on to pieces just for that exact reason, just to like,
until it goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, I think, got some of that stuff from somebody. I forget who. Jesse did a deal. We probably got like 50. Oh, I think I got it from Zach.
Yeah.
From Generation Cool, Arizona. Okay. And he got it from one of you guys out there or somebody out in Colorado. But I ended up flipping it like same day to dudes from Japan because they probably at the Rose Bowl they wouldn't have been on everyone's Instagram seeing it, so
right.
They were like, "Oh, this is lit." So
I remember I tagged Sean in a post like, "Oh, like because he was like definitely heavy on his like white tee thing at the time too. He was like putting all the white tees in the Melrose store and everything, and DM'd me like how much for all of them." And I remember it was like before Thriftcon was tight too, and I was like, free if you come talk to Thriftcon, and I got left on red.
Really?
Yeah. He actually hit me up the other day though, like about the LA one, like, yo, what's up? Like, let's like if we can help, like, because like Sean's gotten to this huge point, this pinnacle of like,
Dude, he hit 1 million followers.
That's crazy, bro. So yeah, like I didn't even think Thriftcon was on his fucking little Thriftcon was on his radar. So we tried to hit up like Adam, like Feynman, and I know Raj that works at the vintage shop, and so I tried to like hit them up to maybe get round 2 involved, but like Sean hit us up like, oh, why didn't you hit us up? I was like, dude, I didn't think you hit us back. Like, what do you mean?
Speaking of that, I told you this, but I'll announce it on the podcast that we're doing a pop-up that same weekend. So Frankie is popping up in round 2 merch store on Melrose Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the same weekend. Thriftcon is in LA, so that should be sweet. I'm gonna piggyback off your influx of traffic.
Let us know if we do. Like, we can try and I mean, obviously you guys have a bigger following than we do, but we can help promote as well.
Yeah, and it's vice versa, man. I'm stoked. Yeah. I mean, basically the reason that we're doing this podcast is to hopefully like get a little more people involved and get people down to the event because I'm fucking stoked to check it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm actually likewise. I'm stoked to come through and see your guys' thing as well. It should be very cool, man.
Very cool. Those guys, like, they are on a level now. Sean, it's crazy that he hit 1 million followers. It's super insane. He's probably the first thrifter in the world ever to get to that place. Obviously, he's way beyond just a thrifter at this point, but I think like they obviously are like in the scene just as much as anyone, and they see everything that's going on. So like you're definitely on their radar, of course. Anyway, back to it. Sorry about that. Speaking of that, I have Chris wants to do a podcast with me of round 2. I think Chris needs more respect. Luke needs more respect. Yeah. Sean gets all the love over there. What the fuck?
I know. I feel you. Yeah, no, Luke, all those guys. So actually, man, right when they had made the move to LA, because we used to play the round 2 show in our shop on our like TV in the shop, and like we had watched them do all that. Like this is, we watched the show go from Virginia to LA and all that. So definitely big props to those guys and like what they've done and built it up. But yeah, like when they had first moved out there, we were out there and I'm walking around Grand Central Market and see Luke and Chris and like Jay Boozy, Justin, and I just like had, I just noticed them from the show. So I went up, hollered at them and said, what's up? And definitely, dude, those are good guys. I've kind of like randomly stayed in touch with Luke on like Instagram and shit like that. And those are good dudes, man. They deserve all the love as well.
Yeah, they're super rad dudes, man. They've always been super good to us. It's rad we're doing the pop-up there. Yeah, and I'm happy and I'm proud of what they've done. It's crazy, man.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Stores in, I don't even know how many different cities now, 4 or 5 different cities.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. I can't even imagine. Like, I get stressed out with how much stores I have, man. I'm not even anywhere near that.
Dude, it's fucked, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know how that must be intense.
Okay, so back to Thriftcon for a sec. So talk us through like some of the. Obviously, we know what it is. It's there's people with booths selling thrift clothing, selling vintage heat, selling hype stuff. But like besides that, like, is there other things you guys are doing? Like, are you guys having speakers? Are you guys having little like side things happening at the event?
Yeah, so I don't know if we were gonna have. We're just like still figuring out we are having people either talk or being interviewed like for like live like tapings. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to have like panels, so where we're trying to gather a crowd, because I've seen that at like a few like recent cons, and it's just always kind of like has a little bit of awkwardness to it, and just I don't love it, honestly, like the panel thing. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but do it in a more like creative, like interesting way that just maybe like either captivates people a little bit more, or is just more for online content, and it doesn't, like, we're not trying to force people to sit there and watch these guys talk. We are also doing like a customization station, so like there's like a place where you'll be able to screen print and do some like vinyl stuff, where you can like actually, like, if you purchase clothes, like, because I know like the upcycle thing is huge right now. And so like if you purchase clothes at Thriftcon, we'll have like a little area where you can come, and we'll have some different graphics laid out for vinyl and for screen press, and then we'll have like art supplies like paint pens and things like that, so you can do whatever you want with your clothes. We have Depop on as a partner, which is kind of cool. We just kind of brought them on as of the last like week or two. I mean, we've been talking for a while, but it just got finalized the last week or two. So they're bringing out some featured vendors. They'll be doing some giveaways and some raffles, and be giving some money away to use to shop at Thriftcon. We're doing like a kickoff party with them, I think Friday. I think it might just be a vendors thing though.
At their store, or what?
And then
where's the party?
Yeah, at their little LA.
Sweet.
Huh?
So the party's
Sorry,
at their shop,
broke up
right?
for a sec.
Are we good or no?
Say it one more time. Yeah, we're good now.
The party's at their shop, right?
Yeah, so like we're doing like a little kickoff party. It'll be like for vendors, like invite only for vendors and plus ones and like homies and stuff. We have like a small list for homies and everything, so we're gonna extend some invites out. But so we'll have like, that'll be Friday from like 6 to 8 or 6 to 9. Yeah, we have our homies, world famous Hot Boys, that run this awesome fried chicken restaurant. They'll probably be in the building, I think, serving up some food that night. And then really, like, we have like a couple cool art installations that'll be going on, like this awesome like fire like old like TV installation that our boy Burke Visual is gonna do, and then he's bringing some people with him as well to do some other stuff. So we have some other things going on for sure, and like as we've grown, because like like I said, it's only been a year. That is one of the main focuses for us, is making it more of an event, more of a convention, because more like a Comic-Con, where Comic-Con encompasses everything that is in the comic culture, the subculture world. It's not just comics at booths. So same thing with Thriftcon and the vintage clothing. We wanted to encompass everything that's kind of like within that vintage world, rather than just walking around and shopping like you would do at a Rose Bowl or something like that.
Comic-Con has got crazy, hasn't it? Like, now it's
wow.
It encompasses like the whole all of Hollywood now, and you get like serious movie stars going out there, and like there's like some of the biggest industry parties are at Comic-Con. Like, I've never been personally, but I've heard stories, man.
Yeah, it is. It's literally just pop culture con now. You know what I mean? Honestly, it really is.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So what about like crazy moments that you've had at some of the other events? Like, has there been like some standout moments, like maybe certain people that came through, or like I don't know, any wild shit gone down out of the ordinary?
No wild shit's gone down, thank God. Like I'm praying no like too wild shit goes down that we have to deal with or anything like that, especially in LA. But no, man, I mean, it's just been good vibes. Like every single time, it's like the best day ever. Like everyone's so stoked, vendors are so stoked, like coming in and setting up, everyone's pumped. And then like once doors open, like the early birds is always, it's always like people, most vendors, man, are usually already made their, I mean, I know how Rosebowl goes too. Like first hour or two, like before like regular doors even open, most vendors have already made their money back, whether it's selling to other vendors or selling to the early bird tickets. We've had some really cool Japanese buyers come through and clean some people out.
Nice.
So like, you know, like that's been cool. But I feel like LA is really where some of that shit's gonna go down, man. Because you know, Denver's a smaller market, sleepy little spot, and so it's really just for us. The event itself is like the big thing that's happening. Like just the fact that many people came out to the last one and the buzz and the energy, it was just fucking, it was nuts. You know, we had like 4 different news outlets, like every news outlet in Denver came out and put us on the news. And so like that shit was like really cool. But I really feel like those type of moments are going to be coming in the bigger cities like LA and New York and Miami and shit, like, you know, Rolling Loud's happening
what's your guys' big ticket goals here? Like, where do you want to see this go eventually?
I mean, get to keep scaling for sure, but to, like you said, to try to do it in the same way, try not to do it too fast, not like overextend ourselves and be like, oh, we're gonna be like Complex Con like next year, like, because it's just not gonna happen like that. And so I feel like next year we're hoping to hit like 6 to 7 cities is like what we kind of have in our mind. Maybe like realistically probably in the 4 to 6 range, but we're trying to get up closer to 6. But so I mean, we want to do New York, we want to do Miami, we want to do somewhere in Texas, we want to do like a Chicago, maybe like a Canada, like a Toronto or something like that.
You know what I mean? Okay, just for Canada, side note, Toronto obviously is sick. Montreal is good too.
Canada, yeah.
Montreal's a great town if you ever want to do it.
Okay.
Apparently the vintage scene out there is like, there's not a lot of stores and stuff, so when people do pop up, like everyone does really well because they want it, but there's not a lot of options. But Toronto or Montreal for sure.
And so yeah, figuring out just how to, you know, making connections in each of those cities, but then also kind of figuring out if we can bring some vendors along with us to some of those, because some of our vendors have expressed, you know, they would be into traveling or going to multiple cities and events, kind of like some of the sneaker con people do.
Yeah.
So it's really, honestly, man, we fucking are just figuring this shit out every single day, you know, we're figuring it out as we go. Like, yeah,
you know,
like
we fucking get out there, trial and error, make shit happen.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. We're just, you know, like, that would be a cool city. Let's try to go there.
Do you see yourself like eventually trying to build this into something that you could sell, or would you want to like? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that is possible. That is like a possibility. I don't know if I see myself throwing a vintage convention for the next 30 or 40 years. So I feel like there's other aspirations and just things I want to do. I'm like, my mind jumps from ideas, like, you know, one idea to the next, like all the fucking time. You know, I think that's definitely like a possibility down the road.
Yeah.
But something was awesome. I'd say it was more of like a love project. We had a great following in Denver. You know, we were able to keep the store for 5 years until we transitioned to this, and it made money, but it never made a killing. But Thriftcon's been the first thing that's been like very like actually like lucrative for us. So, you know, again, figuring that out
That's so rad,
as
That's
go.
so fucking rad. And the
the
best part about it is this is big, and I think this is where my mind goes a lot of time. It's like figuring out avenues that you can be in this business without just buying and selling a t-shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, people don't it's kind of a weird thing to wrap your head around. Like, you've now created a convention where people get to buy and sell t-shirts, but you're making the money on helping them buy and sell t-shirts. You know,
right.
there's lots of ways to be involved in this business without directly thrifting and selling teas. So I think it's so cool that you guys have figured out your hustle in that way, man. Like it's inspiring. It's rad.
That's definitely something to speak to too, because I feel like there's so many people that want to be involved in the streetwear world and the vintage world and shit, but they all think they need a brand. They all think they need this poppin' brand and rappers got to be wearing it and shit. But that's really hard to do. So yeah, I mean, trying to find just little niches and places that like just solving problems that are in the thrift world that no one's thinking that need to be solved, or in the streetwear world or whatever. That's like the way to go about it right now.
Totally. And I think there's lots of opportunities like within like technology. Like, you know, sure we got Depop, sure we got eBay, but there's like, this shit ain't over, man. There's like so many other things that could be created to help us in this business. Obviously things like you're doing, like content creation, like we're doing right now. Like there's so many things you could do to be involved. And it's fun, man. Like I do this because I enjoy it. I like talking to people, meeting people. Like we probably wouldn't have been sitting here chatting if I didn't fuck with this podcast, right? So
yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of opportunity too, you know what I mean? Like this shit is growing so fast and it's not going away right now, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And so I mean there's opportunity for so many people to have a piece and have a place in it, you know. So I mean, yeah, I agree for sure.
And there's something back to goals for a second. I think, you know, I mean, you guys are crushing it. You're way far away from selling your business or whatever you're going to do, but I just think it is important to sort of sit down with your partners. You know, me and Jesse talk about it. Like, what's our goals for Frankie? What's our goals for Effers and Frank? What's our exit strategy down the road? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of kids who are in this, a lot of this business is run by young kids, of course, right? It's like 20-somethings who are out thrifting. And a lot of these kids are making great money. Like, these 20-something-year-olds crushing it, selling fucking used T-shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm giving out the challenge of like, start to think about your goals, people. Start to think about where you want to be in 10 years. Like, how is this vintage game going to get you to where you want to be? Because I've said this before, but you're not going to get rich probably by just selling vintage T-shirts. It's like you got to start to invest your money. You got to build some business that you can sell off. Or just start salting away money or whatever it's going to be, but at least have a goal in mind so you can work towards something without just spinning wheels all the time. So it's good to think about the goals.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was kind of re-going through some of Jeff Staples' podcast, The Business of Hype, some of the older ones, like re-listening to some of those that I'd listened to a while ago when he started it, and the one with Aaron Levant, the guy who started ComplexCon. And like Agenda and all that, he made a point that I was like, damn, like he basically said he kind of believes that you have like 3 phases or like chapters of your career life and your work life. And he's like, basically like, I think he said he was phasing out of his, because this was right when he was stepping away from Agenda and basically stepping away from ComplexCon and just was going to be a consultant and everything. And so he was saying he was just closing the first chapter of his like work career, going into the second one, but already was like forming the ideas. Like it was basically like I used Agenda and sold Agenda and used ComplexCon to get to this second one to set up the second chapter of my work career. He wouldn't reveal what it was, but then he was like to set up the groundwork for this third chapter that I basically, like, he's like wanting to do like tons of environmental work. He was basically talking about he needs hundreds of millions of dollars to get to this third chapter, and he understands that, and he's using these other like things like ComplexCon and Agenda, which, you know, for me, I'm like, that would have been the pinnacle of my fucking work career. I started Agenda and ComplexCon, you know what I mean? Like that's like big money would have been the pinnacle, but for him, these huge money makers were just like, he was already like seeing those giant things as just a tool or a vehicle to get to his like end point that he knew he wanted to get to. And I was like, dude, that's thinking so far down the road, and like, but it's amazing and completely necessary, you know.
Big time. And that's rad. I got to listen to that, man.
Yeah, that was a good one. His was a good one.
And I didn't think about it when I was younger much at all. I'm thinking about it a lot now because I'm 39. I'm almost 40. You know, I'm like, I don't know where I am exactly. I never thought about my career and like the stages, but
Right.
I definitely think more about an end game now than I ever have, right? And I kind of wish I did earlier. So part of what I want to be preaching to the younger generation is like, you know, you can retire young if you plan young. If you plan it out young, you can be fucking set up with money. You can be done like sitting on a beach when you're fucking 35, you know, if you do it right.
Yeah.
So like a little bit of planning when you're young and early and it goes a long way. So
It's true.
I feel that shit. How old are you?
28.
28, man. That's my lucky number, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, dude. It's so funny. I talked about this with somebody else, but 28 is like always would. Well, it's my birthday. I'm August 28th. And then it would always be jersey numbers, like for hockey or for snowboarding or whatever. I got a jersey issued. It would just randomly be 28. And then, like, my last 3 houses I've lived in, the numbers of the houses have added up to 28.
That's wild.
Which is fucked because...
That's wild.
Because...
It sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, my wife... I don't even notice this shit. My wife's really into the numbers, so she like, brought that to my attention, and she kind of looked at the numbers more. So I was like, that's fucking
funny.
crazy.
That's funny.
All right, man. Who do you want to give thanks to? Shout out your partners, for one thing.
Yes. Both my partners, David _meets world, partner with Station, partner with Thriftcon, crushes it. He does a lot of the design work, graphic design stuff, social media stuff. Shout out to Ken, partner Ken. His mom calls Kenneth on Instagram. Mom calls me Kenneth is what his Instagram is. Yeah, he like I said, he's crushing all of like our marketing campaigns and like behind the scenes work, budgeting stuff, day of show operations stuff. Shout out the shop, Station _co on Instagram. That's our brand. Like I said, we don't have the shop at the moment, but we're still doing pop-ups. That's kind of what led into all of this stuff. And then just shout out to all the vendors, everyone who's came through a ThriftCon, everyone who's interested or might be coming to ThriftCon LA. We appreciate the shit out of it. Honestly, like I said, for us, it's every time we do it, it is like our favorite day ever. I'm more happy like the hours after ThriftCon than I think I ever fucking am. We're just like so stoked. It's like the best energy. So I mean, I really do. We appreciate everyone that comes through, all the vendors that make it such a great event and bring all the cool shit out. So everyone's stoked. Like, can't thank them enough, honestly.
Nice. So give us the full rundown of ComplexCon LA. Where do you get tickets? What are the dates? Any other info?
ThriftCon LA. You said ComplexCon.
Oh, I did. Sorry. My bad. ThriftCon LA. Fuck ComplexCon. ThriftCon LA. Give us the details.
So ThriftCon LA, you can go to our website and it basically has all the links that you need. So thriftcon.co, not .com, .co. So thriftcon.co. There's the ticket link on there, which takes you to Eventbrite. You can find our tickets on Eventbrite as well. Just search ThriftCon LA. But if you just Google ThriftCon LA, the ticket link comes up, the Facebook link comes up, our website will come up, and we are still accepting vendors as well through December 1st, unless we sell out of spaces before then because they're starting to move quick. But so if you want to be a vendor, if you got cool shit, if you got cool stuff, guy stuff, girl stuff, I mean, we have.
I'm sure you guys probably have a lack of girls, so like probably a big opportunity for people.
ThriftCon is the first thing that we've ever done that girls come to. We were blown away the first time. Like, it's about a 60-40 mix. Like, we actually have a huge girls attendance, and so we just have a lack of girls vendors. Like,
That's what I mean,
yeah. So like the girls are out for like we get attendance, and then usually have like 80-20 as far as like only 20% of our vendors are for female, which is good and a bad thing. Like, they're usually stoked because they get shocked.
Yeah.
Just a ton. Because there's a bunch of girls, but like not as many female vendors. So the female vendors usually crush it and do like very well. But that's definitely like for us moving forward, like just getting a better scope of things, like adding older eras, things like that, adding like getting more female stuff is a focus for us for sure. But yeah, man, we need all the girls.
I'm gonna hit up. I know a few girls from LA like who sell at the bowl that I'll hit up and tell them to contact you.
They will, man. They crush it. Like I said, just because there's not as many of them. There's so many girls out there shopping, so like they always do well.
Yeah, so rad. Okay, so we're gonna catch up in LA. We're gonna go for dinner and hang out.
Yes, sir.
What day do you guys get there? Do you know yet?
So we get there. We're driving out, and we're driving out early just to be out there and make. We're gonna go to Rose Bowl the week before. We're gonna go to SneakerCon because that's the week before as well. And we're just gonna talk to some people and hand out flyers and put shit on people's cars to piss them off and do all that. So we'll be out
sick.
there. I think either the 6th or the 7th.
Oh damn! So you're there the whole week. I'm there the whole week too, man. So that should be sick. We'll hang out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you for coming on. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing Thriftcon.
Yes, yes.
And thanks everybody for listening to this podcast. Sorry I haven't done a lot of episodes lately, but I'm going to be doing more. I appreciate you guys for listening more than anything. So subscribe to the podcast and see you on the next one.
Thanks, man.